Welcome to the Rebel Rise podcast, a place where values-driven founders on a mission for more come to connect, learn, and grow. Here, we celebrate the relentless spirit of leaders building businesses that create real good for their clients, communities, and the world. No subject is off limits, and every episode is designed to bring you clear strategy, steady leadership, and people-first operations you can actually sustain. Get ready to grow ethically, lead well, and build something that works without burning you out. Your impact journey begins right here. Let's go. Today on the podcast, we have Cat Roten visiting us. Now, she's been here before, but similar to me, she's had a lot of things shift since our last conversation here. So Cat is a mentor, a speaker, and a facilitator who supports established women entrepreneurs in aligning how they work and lead. Through intuitive mentorship, grounded in strategy, she now helps clients to grow sustainably, trust their decisions, and feel steady in their business again. So this is going to be a super fun conversation, especially from one business consultant to another. So I am so excited to dive in. Kat, welcome back to the podcast.
Hi, Vanessa, and to you listening. I am so excited to be back on here. It's funny to think it's round 2.
I know. Well, it's funny. It's actually kind of round 4 since we've both been on each other's podcasts, just updating everybody on our shifts and on our changes. But it's been so fun to kind of be on this journey together in that respect, because even though our journeys have been different, it's been fun to revisit each other's shows and also pivot, even though it's not been at the same time. But it's nice to have somebody who can relate to that when you're making a big shift.
Oh, 100%. Well, and just in the fact that we both have evolved so much since the first time I think we came on each other's podcast. So to this pivots, the shifts, share that, but then also where are we at now, with the learnings that have happened during that time too. Because I feel like both of us have learned a lot, and we're also in different seasons of even now things are even shifting, and we have new priorities that we're getting to really go after, which is so fun, and we get to cheer each other on.
Yeah. And I don't know if you did this, but when I was getting ready to relaunch and start recording for this season, I went back and I listened to season 1 of my podcast, and I was like, wow, I am so different.
I have not.
Our episode, so different in listening to all of my guests and how everyone has evolved since then. So I've got quite a few repeat guests and some new people too this season, but it was so fun and interesting to hear and remember where I was at in that season and how much things have shifted and how much I've evolved.
Yeah, I need to do that. I haven't gone back. It's funny because I actually don't listen to my episodes anymore either when I record them, because I think I can be so hard on myself. So part of me has been like, no, we're not going to go back and listen. And honestly, I think I should, even if it's just the first 10 episodes or so, because it's been almost 2.5 years since my podcast launched for me, and I'm at 150 something episodes now. So it's a lot's happened. A lot of guests have come on. I've changed the confidence, and I say it all the time. I do think the podcast really is where the confidence in me just sharing and speaking my story came from. So it'd be really interesting to go back and listen to those first few episodes.
Yeah, you should, because it's going to tell you really how you've evolved and how you've grown. And you might still be able to take some notes on how you can continue to shift it too.
That's very true, actually. That's a really good idea. Okay, we're doing that.
There's also some moments where I was listening to mine and I'm like, oh, I sound so educated here. I sound so good. It was just fun. It was just fun to review.
Yeah, and I really should go do that. I'm taking a week off here in the next few weeks after this recording, and I'm like, maybe that's just what I need to do is sit and listen to my own podcast and go back in time and just reminisce a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, that would be so fun. I bet you would enjoy it more than you think you would.
Probably.
Yeah. So the big shifts that we have kind of been into is like now we're both in business consulting and you're kind of working on a whole nother shift too, even as we're speaking, which is great, right? Because that speaks to evolution.
Mhm.
And no matter what kind of business you're in, you're always going to be evolving it. Even if you don't shift your focus, even if you don't shift your niche or who you're serving, you may change your package, you may change your offer, you may decide some other area lights you up more, or maybe you want to just drop that business and change it to something else entirely, right? And I'm speaking to everybody, not just you, when I'm saying that. So tell me a little bit about what that whole journey has been like, because for you specifically, it has been more of I'm changing my business and not so much I'm just making these little tweaks and changes to offers.
Yeah. So right now, I feel like what I'm doing is honestly more refinement. But if you go back to like a year ago, so February, March of 2025, I cocooned for like 2 months. And during that time is when I was doing my event host community. I was an event planner coordinator. Like that was the sole piece of my business. And I had been toying around with the fractional word. And I was like, hey, I could be a fractional COO. I held hotels for a long time, go from like doing really bad, building them back up to being profitable. I had turned around departments and I understood the structure of a business, especially smaller ones. It's just that's who I'd worked closely with. And I grew up with a parents who were business owners as well. So I'd been around that for a lot of my life. And I was like, I'm just going to throw this around. And in February, I got my first fractional client. And it's a local guy here. I had started going to networking events. And I realized I was like, I don't think events are who I am anymore. Like, I love events. I love attending them. I do love supporting to an extent, but I was leaving so freaking drained. Like, I would leave after supporting and could barely get back into my week and like a routine at my house and feel good getting back into the business. So I was like, something's got to shift. So when I got that first client, I was like, maybe this is it. And it kind of just started this snowball, especially for me locally. So instead of like seeking clients online and externally, I went here in the Boone, North Carolina area, and he started introducing me to all these people. And one of them turned out to be a software company looking for support with software migrations to their software from other ones. And that just all of a sudden I was like, well, that's really funny. When I was in the hotel world, I wanted to be the person who went and helped hotels open or they were transitioning to the Marriott brand and like help them transition to a new software and teach them on it. I was like, so this is like really funny how it's coming back around 5, 6 years later.
Yep.
And it was all great and it's been wonderful. It brought me stability and income. It helped me pay off debt that we had built up over my first year when I left corporate and had done everything. And don't get me wrong, I love every minute of it, but I have learned so much about myself this last year again. And I have changed and evolved. And internally, like I had to shed that event identity and I put on another identity that I didn't realize was again business focused. It was the one big thing I had learned last year is like I don't have to be my business. And yet I just created again my business where I am my business. So a year later, or in February, I'm now looking at refinement of where I'm letting some of the parts of my business go, like doing that software migrations, but I don't see them fully disappearing. It's more hiring people and bringing on a team to where my business is not me. It is others as well. And I can stay and thrive in what I love doing, which now is hosting my own immersions and like hosting like mentoring and having IME, which we can dive into all that stuff at some point. But like those things I'm realizing light me up. And I like staying in the high level strategy with my fractional clients and those business consulting clients. I don't like doing the thing. I don't like sitting there and looking at one software and the other software and saying, okay, this is incorrect and this needs to be fixed. And like, I don't want to sit there and do that stuff. But I know there's people out there who love doing those things or who want to sit and make money and do that. And I'm like, that's the person I just need to bring in. And then I'm not the one who's only the business. So that's kind of where I feel like I'm evolving right now is the idea that I am not my business. I am me and I can have a team that supports me on the other side.
Yeah. And how much of a blessing is it to have that as an option
Yeah.
to not only be able to step back, do high level stuff, and full circle spin back into an event space, which is
Yeah.
but also like you're making jobs for people, which is my favorite thing about Benefit Bar, and my consulting at some point probably will get to a point where it's doing that as well. But that to me, that also lights me up is the ability to help others to build and expand their businesses, but allow space for other people to have jobs and income.
Oh, it makes me so excited. I have a lady already who wants to come on to be like do administrative stuff, the more behind the scenes. She doesn't want to be customer focused and she just doesn't know as much about the business side, but she's willing and excited to learn. And she's talked about she wants to start her own business one day and she wants to do things. And I'm like, I want you to come work for me because I would love to like be the mentor for you too. Like you're getting to help support me, but I can also help you hopefully and cheer you on as you get to that point. So yes, like, and it lights me up and also getting to resource those people. It's like I don't want to pay someone on Fiverr or a VA in the Philippines for $10 an hour. Like I actually want to pay somebody $30, $40 an hour to do something that really takes stuff off my plate and they're making a difference and an impact for me and my business, but honestly for these other people too.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just such an incredible opportunity. It's such a great problem to have. And then it allows you to be able to take on more clients too, which is awesome.
Yep.
And I want to highlight that because anybody who's listening right now who is in a scaling stage of your business, this is typically the hardest thing as a business owner to do is to let go of the things that you're handling and hand them off to other people. But as you get to do that, you get to step into that visionary role, which is what you're saying. I don't want to do the
Mm-hmm.
implementation. I want to do the visionary role. And as a business owner, we need to be that visionary. Someone has to have the vision and see the path that's ahead. And you can't do that as effectively if, like you said, Kat, you're in the day to day, right in the weeds of all of the data and all of the migrations and things like that. So I think as soon as you can, you should get somebody in the door.
Oh,
And
100%.
yeah, yeah. And it just allows for so much space because now you're able to do IME too, which we will definitely get to because I'm excited to
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah. It's well, and just to touch on this also, like I went to an event last week and we did some subconscious work and I actually brought up IME as part of it. And at one point I had someone look at me and go, Kat, it's time for you to step into the visionary role. And I will say this is an identity shift I'm in the middle of right now is because I have seen myself as the doer and the integrator. Everyone has seen me that way. They're like, you are so good at what you do. You get in it, you can integrate it. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm great at. And I've been sitting here going, I don't want to do that anymore, but I also haven't seen myself as a visionary, which is the funny thing. Even though I'm a business owner, I still saw myself as the integrator. I never saw myself as a visionary. And so I am currently having to work on the belief like I am a visionary. I am the person that can be leading this business and have a team who's actually the one implementing and integrating because I love that stuff too to an extent, but it doesn't have to be only who I am. And that's a big shift that like when it was actually Kelsey who said this to me
that. Yeah.
and I looked at her and I was like, yeah, that's who I want to be. We're gonna work on that. It's like it's a great
She's good
next.
at
I
the
mean,
call outs with you.
yeah, yeah. I needed to be called out about it because I think I was hiding a little bit from it and I didn't realize that I was hiding and staying in my little safe bubble of the doer. But it also is hard for me to release control. And that's what you have to do when you bring on a team and when you step into that role and trust like your team's going to do it. And it may not be exactly the way that you want to do it, but they're still going to get it done. And as long as they're trained and you trust them, they will do the work for you.
Well, something that you're really good at, though, you and I have talked about this because it's a strong suit for both of us, is the operations side.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would also venture to assume that you are also very good at onboarding and training. And so I also want you to receive that in this moment because if you hire the right people, then you give them the right training, and then they're a bunch of mini cats doing exactly what you need them to do, right? Like
Yeah,
I have a bartender in Benefit Bar right now who she's also a business owner. She's building her own business, which is incredible to watch and to be able
that's
to help
awesome.
with that. But she thinks like I do. And so I can trust her behind the bar. And like you said, she may make a couple of different decisions than me, but for the most part, I feel like she's a very strong replica for me. So I feel like great if she wants to pick up prep. I feel great if she wants to, I'm going to Hawaii next week and I could book an event while I'm gone and trust her to handle it all from start to finish and be fine and still have the direct results that I want, which is also a really good feeling to know that I have somebody who can operate the same way that I do. So thinking of having more of those, like, Yes, please.
It sounds wonderful. Like that sounds amazing.
Not like right out the gate, but
But the goal is over time. Again, the onboarding, the training, and I know, and yes, we both know operationally how important that is. And I think that's where it comes in for me is like providing myself the time. Like that's what I'm trying to do right now is allow myself this space to be able to do that well. So then I can give stuff to them and they can take it and run with it.
yeah. And what do you feel like right now with your clientele? What is the biggest hurdle for them that you're helping solve right now? Or maybe the biggest hurdle, something that you are enjoying, not something you're stepping away from, I should say.
Um, this is so interesting because my first answer was going to be like what I'm stepping away from. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's just they can't get anything done. They're in the business. They're way too much in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, it's so funny because I'm working with them very closely, but the one big hurdle I keep coming up against with people is that they are stuck in their business. They get stuck in meetings. They're stuck in it depends on who you're talking about. One gets stuck in meetings, the other one gets stuck in their team coming to them and like they're the one they come and get to ask questions to and then they have to fill in because their team leaves because of some emergency or some unexpected thing and then they're filling in and so all this time that they're supposed to step away to work on their business and to be able to step into their visionary role or the more creative side of their brain even to like do that creative work they don't have time for. And I think I've talked to all three of my fractional clients this week right now. Yeah, all three of them. And I said, okay, we need to look at your calendar and we need to look at like either time blocking or specific meeting days or only a specific number of meetings because not every industry that I work with, she can't take not take meetings on a day. So I'm like, okay, but let's limit. Like maybe you take 2 calls only in the morning or 2 calls only in the afternoon because the rest of your day you need to be able to do the things. Like she's been meaning to look at a budget for over 4 weeks and she can't even look at the budget that she's supposed to review because she's in the business and things have been happening. So I say that and also I've had to reflect personally on that too recently and be like,
Same.
I'm in 20 meetings a week and I'm sitting on calls like some days like 8 hours of calls and I was like, I can't do the work. I can't even like help actually support them, let alone try to hire somebody onto my team, record my own podcast, try to write my emails, like support everyone else. And so for you listening, even I would challenge you to look at yourself, but like if you do support other people as well, like I didn't realize how common of a hurdle that is until literally this week it's come up for so many people I am working with.
Yeah, and that it's that whole concept we were just talking about, right? Of people not wanting to let go of things, but that's to your own detriment because
Yeah.
then you're not able to focus on lead generation or your migrations or literally anything at all.
Anything.
Even developing a new process that you need to bring on then people to work, you have to, as the owner, be in that visionary role. So actually, I love this as this conversation is unfolding because that's also where you're at now is you are also tasked with getting yourself out of that day to day, getting yourself out of the weeds. And you have to change your identity in order to do that. But that's a lot of people too.
Oh, it's a lot. I mean, one of my clients is an architect, and it was just really funny because he's creative. Like, he's an architect, he designs. And he was sitting there and he's like, I am so freaking tired of this noise. And like, what do you mean noise? And he meant the emails and the meetings, like all these things. It's like he wasn't even creating time for him to be creative. And like, that's where he thrives, is in
Yeah.
that stuff. And I really do think because of hearing everyone, I had already started the process of realizing I had to make changes. I kind of realized the end of January and have been using February as my cleanup month. So as of March, like I'm only taking meetings Mondays and Thursdays. I will only take 4 calls each of those days because I do have clients I know that I have to check in weekly with. But like that's it. No, like even coffee chats and connection calls and stuff like it's not happening any other days of the week because I need my days to step into the being the visionary and like when I hire that person on, I want the time to train them and make sure that they feel supported so they can run, pretty quickly would be my hope too, if I can give them the time and energy they need. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting time to be in.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how things expand for you on that arm of the business that is you. But I also want to talk about IME because you brought it up a couple of times already. And this is your new baby. It's incredible. I was there in November and I want you to be able to share about that because it's exciting. I think you also have something open now
Right
too.
now, yes.
So yeah, like literally right now. So I'm gonna have to push this episode forward so that we can get it out to the people. But it was an incredible experience for me. But I want to have you kind of share with everybody, and then I can always add to.
Yeah. So last year I hosted two immersions, and they're basically the easiest way is like a mastermind retreat. So we spend one full day masterminding. And I know Vanessa, you and everyone else, I got feedback from a couple people. They were like, I could have done more of that. And I'm like, yeah, I think we could have. But you really get to be poured into and receive from other people advice and wisdom on a challenge, an issue, or multiple that you're kind of currently going through. And I say business, but it is a little bit of life that gets woven into it as well. And then the rest of the experience is integration, actually implementing. I do one-on-one coaching, all the stuff. Well, in November, I was presented with a wonderful question at the immersion of like, well, what happens now? Like between now and the next one, what are we doing? And I was like, that's a
Also,
great
Kelsey.
question. Also, Kelsey, yeah, she calls me out on my bullshit, guys.
That's what I'm saying.
She's really good at it. But it was just really, really interesting because I sat there and I think I had this fear because I created the event host community and I never got traction with it. And I probably didn't give it enough time, but I didn't want to create something that no one was going to be interested in or want to be a part of. And so getting to sit down with all of you, IME was born. And so IME is an acronym for the Immersion Mastermind Experience. And so what was basically formed from this was monthly mastermind calls where everyone now gets to monthly, they join, be masterminded on and mastermind with other incredible women, business owners, and leaders. I do co-working now as well that happens monthly. So taking everything from the masterminding, we make sure we actually can integrate the co-working, kind of that accountability check-in on the halfway point. And then I actually still do quarterly one-on-one vision planning. So I get on a call with somebody one-on-one and we talk about the next 90 days and we lay out your plan. I actually just did 3 of them this last week. And I have so much fun with it because I get to call you out on your bullshit usually too. We figure out like what actually is the focus of the next 90 days. We break it down into action steps. And then I get to use that on the mastermind calls is what I love now because I get on and I know what we talked about and I get to see, do they start deviating down another path? And it's like, okay, does that path make sense? Or do we need to come back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the 90 days? Because obviously things evolve. I mean, look how much me and you have changed over the last year. Like obviously things are going to shift and priorities may shift, but I want to make sure that they're being held accountable and they're holding each other accountable to that. So it's just become a really cool space, a safe space to be yourself. That's why I loved what the acronym ended up sounding like. It sounds like I am me, but it's I am me. And it just has become my baby. And we're still in like early stages. It's still small, but I think that's the one thing I realize is it can never be more than probably 8, maybe 10 women because of the depth we have, because the importance of actually everyone getting to be masterminded on to be able to hold everyone accountable. When it becomes more than that, it can be a little harder, I think, for everyone to really get the depth and the support that they need, as well as give it to other people, because there is that equal energy exchange that I talk about too. So yeah, it's become amazing. And this year now, there's like bonuses that I'm adding in. So like you get access to Kelsey's Community Elevated Collective now. So I can tie in where I thrive in the strategy and the operations and laying out priorities. And her community is subconscious work. So now that's actually included with IME, which I'm really excited about because that's not my expertise, but I know how important it is. And then also on the other side, we're going to start doing guest workshops and like pop-up office hours and things too. As my capacity opens with all the shifts, I can lean into all these things that I enjoy. So.
And this experience is so fun. It's different from a regular mastermind too. I just want to add on to that and say how incredible it was because also it is so small. It's very intimate. When I went, there were a couple of people that I already knew, but then I left having new friendships and new connections and relationships that I'm able to continue to build on. But not only that, I was able to see things about myself and my businesses that I hadn't even thought of, like I hadn't even dawned on me. And so having that dedicated time to present your case, so to speak, like where you're at, get masterminded on by the entire group is so powerful. And anyone who's listening who's ever been to just a mastermind in general already knows how beneficial those are. But you're literally in immersion. So you're talking business, you're becoming the visionary in your business, you're going out and doing fun things. We went out to dinner, we did lots of walking and activity, and we did a cold plunge in a sauna, which was incredible. That was probably one of my favorite things. And so there was so much connection as well. So
Hmm.
when you pair the strategy with the connection, it really is a very strong accelerator for growth and for getting you to a next level that you are really not even expecting.
Yeah. Yeah, not at all. And I'm excited. So the next in-person immersion is the first week of May. So I have 2 spots left, which is crazy because I was not expecting that when I rolled it out this time around. But I think that just shows me that the proof of concept and like what I did last year is like paying off.
Mhm.
And then right now, what you were talking about is IME will open quarterly with it. So if you come to the immersion, you can go into IME from there. But I also open it quarterly. But kind of what Vanessa was getting at. It's about connection, it's about the strategy. And I'm very intentional about who's in these spaces. Like, I want to make sure who is in there is willing to give and willing to receive. Is somebody who honors the safety piece and aspect that I bring into these spaces. And so it's been fun. I have no idea where any of this is going to go, because it blew my mind in November when you all were asking me about it.
Mhm.
So I think it's the one part of my business I'm not stressing about. I'm just trusting that the right women are going to come in at the right time.
And I think it's fair to say that they have so far.
Yeah.
And also, you're just leaning into what lights you up and what's fun, and it's been so fun to see you in your element, but also challenged in receiving, like me saying this to you, right?
Yeah.
And just accepting that. But there really is something to be said about people who are building businesses from a place of creativity and also passion, and stay in that passion. So
Hmm.
this is something I harp on my clients a lot. And my favorite client to work with are the people who are aligned with themselves and their business, and the values match, and they don't sell out. Because this is something that I see very often with businesses as they scale and they get beyond that, is they kind of throw the passion to the side. They throw the love and everything that they baked into it off to the side in exchange for more sales, more clients, more money, more whatever you want to say. And then it kind of becomes a business almost without a soul. And then you
Oh,
you
yeah.
lack the back end things, right? Like the
Hmm.
SOPs and all of those things, because there's no time for it. But then it just is kind of like an empty shell. And so it lights me up as well to see you doing something that will never be that, because you are also willing to shift and change anytime it starts to feel that way. And there's
Yeah.
power in that.
Thank you. I'm going to receive that.
Great job. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. It's like I really am, guys. I'm really practicing my receiving muscle. So,
Lots of
oh,
practice for you with this in the last year. But,
yeah.
we need more business owners that can do that.
Hmm.
Because even if I met you in a season of event host community, I still know who you are and what you stand for and what you're capable of, regardless of whether it's fractional COO work, whether it's IME, whether it's 6 months from now, you want to be a long distance running trainer, which you could also do. I would trust, because I know you, that you're going to put your heart and your passion into it. And I'm going to get what you're promising me, no matter
Hmm.
what it is.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. I think the other comment I just want to make here too is like when I'm creating, I'm actually bringing into my local community as well. And so, like, if you're listening to this and hearing this and you're like, I need that, one, reach out to me. Would love to have you be a part of it. And two, and I think Vanessa, you've actually gotten to do this since the immersion, is like getting together with some people at a coffee shop and co-working and co-creating together, or getting together and create your own little just mini mat, like come like plan once a month, have 3 4 people come together. Because I do know right now a lot of people are craving in person, and in person is there, but finding the right room and the right space where you do feel safe enough to open up about what's going on in your life and your business and how the two are intermingling. I challenge you to also maybe step out and ask a couple people in your circle who you trust to get on a call or to come in person and have some of those conversations and lean on them. And also know when you step into these spaces, not everything might be meant for you and you can leave it. You don't have to take it with you. And I think that was a big lesson I had to learn because I've been a part of masterminds. I've been a part of other retreats. I've gone to a bunch of events. And Vanessa, you've done the same thing. And I don't know how many times I've left and you have this long list and I sit there and I'm like, I'm so excited. And I'm like, I don't even know what's actually for me and what I actually need to integrate right now. And I think we take stuff with us thinking we need to do it. I mean, I did this even last week at the event. I had a moment where I panicked because I was like, how am I going to do all of this? And I sat there and was like, this is not all for me. That's why. So like taking the time when you are in those spaces, even if it's like, again, just 3-4 of you coming together. And when you receive a lot, know that you can leave some of it. It doesn't all have to go back with you because not all of it's meant for you either.
And there's so much freedom in that. I love that you're saying that because again, it allows for flexibility for you to flex in and out of something and to try something on. And again, that feeds back into, in my opinion, creativity, the visionary role that you are, because there's really no right or wrong answer. And sometimes you're going to stumble into something that you never pictured yourself doing within your business, or maybe an entirely different business, and it's going to work out better than you could have imagined. So, yeah, I just think that that's what's coming up for me right now as you're saying that is like, let's just lean in and play and have fun and explore. And yeah, if it doesn't feel aligned, that's great. Because something that felt aligned for you 3 days ago may not feel in alignment with you today.
Yep, exactly. And it's okay to leave it. It's okay to let it go.
Yeah. So what specifically, when does your next IME where the doors are open? What could they expect from that if they're interested? Because I know there is a process for that.
Yes, there is a process. So I think when this episode comes out, these doors will be closed because they close on Monday, February 16th. But the next one will be in May. So it'll be May. I'm going to butcher dates right now, guys. It's 3 months out. It's that second week of May, though, basically, is when the doors will reopen. I will have the wait list, and I'm happy to share the wait list link with you, Vanessa. So if there's anyone interested, I'm actually going to build a wait list this time. Guys, I told you this was all new last time. So we're slowly in a building process and getting our systems and processes in place. But I have a wait list. You can join it, and then I will start to announce things leading up to it. And then I will host again an in-person immersion the first week of May. And then at the end of that is typically, so May 7th is when we open the doors for IME for another week or so. And it requires an application, getting on a call with me. And then at that point, we make sure it's aligned on both sides. Because again, very intentional who comes into the space. And then if you are welcomed in, we'll have a welcome call and kick off with a masterminding call actually too. So.
Yeah, so exciting. And do you know, I'm just curious, I know I'm getting way ahead of myself, but do you know we know where this IME is going to be at, your immersion piece in May. Where is the fall one going to be? Do you have
So it's going to be a little moved up, shifted a little bit, but it's going to be back in Boone. So I am going to do my second one this year in Boone, probably end of July, actually. So I most likely, if you go to my website, I think I'll have a wait list already up as well for that, just because it is coming up sooner. I'm kind of doing a turnaround quicker this time this year. So
yeah, fun. And Boone, for everybody listening, is where I went. I went to that immersion last year, and Boone is beautiful.
Yeah. And in the summer, it's nice because you're in the mountains, so it's not as hot as if you're anywhere else. Especially you, Vanessa, being out in Arizona. It's really nice and refreshing. It's still warm, but it's a very different type of warm with a nice breeze.
Yeah. And I will probably be looking to escape at that point because we had a very warm winter here, which scares me.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Avoid Phoenix at all costs this summer if you're able to. It'll be rough, I think.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yay.
So if you had to give any business owners listening one piece of solid advice that you felt like they could just grab onto and take with them out of here and apply, what would that be?
I feel like I already talked about it, so I'm not going to hit on it again about the calendar and like your meetings and everything. We I think drove that into the ground. But I think the other thing for me, and I know people who have read like Traction and base their business off of Traction, like rocks and all this stuff, but I do like truly believe having priorities for your 90 days is so important to keep you on track. Again, even if it fluctuates, even if you have something come up and your business evolves again, or you figure something else that you want to do, just having these like 3 or 4 key priorities that you can come back to, you can break down into micro action steps and know every month, every week you're working towards it, changes everything. It just gives you direction. It gives you the banks to your river that you're trying to go in without being stressful or overcomplicating. And it doesn't have to take long, to be honest. And I really, I spend an hour with my clients and I give them about 20 minutes probably of prep work. It really could take you 30 minutes of dumping what you want to get done. What are the priorities? What are all these desires for this year? And like, what are actually can you do in the next 90 days and realistically accomplish, and write it down, break them into micro steps, and then go from there and know that like you have a trajectory. So that is my big piece of advice.
I love that. So when you're working on 90-day goals, do you just simply focus there and dial down from there? Or do you start with, here's my big year goals, and then every 90 days when you go to reevaluate, you look at, here's where I am now in comparison to my full calendar year goal, and then you work down from there?
I start at the big 2026 goals. So I start there with everybody. And then those, it's like, what are we focusing on right now? And that's when we break them into like, what are the actual priorities these 90 days and what are the action steps to get us moving? Because even for myself, I think a great example is what was I working on the other day? I think it was hiring that was on my list. It is like hiring, but I knew I wouldn't hire in Q1. But I knew in Q1, a priority for me was what am I doing that I don't need to do? Like figuring that out was a huge priority for me. But I know the hiring will happen actually in probably Q2. So like that's my next goal going into Q2 will be hiring. And then I'll break that down into like having to interview, find people, all those things. So it's probably the best example I can give.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah. So start big, work small, and then update every 90 days.
Yes, because things change.
Yeah. I am due for that as well. I'm just managing from a list and ClickUp right now.
Oh, no.
Well, it's better because before, and it's so funny because no matter how organized you are, what your skill sets are, it's difficult to do it for yourself.
Oh,
So
100%.
I just got on ClickUp. I just got off of paper and my brain, and I put everything into ClickUp. So, which is great because now I'm using it as an LMS, and it's been great for that. But I need to also break down some goals to stay just a little bit more organized. So that's a good reminder for me as well.
Good. There you go, Vanessa.
So we know we're going to put in the podcast description the link to your waitlist. But in addition to that, if anybody doesn't follow you already and they want to connect with you, how can they get into your world?
Yeah. Easiest way is Instagram. So I have my Instagram that's at cat.roten, so cat.roten, and then at imperfectly.impactful, which is my podcast. So those are the two things. And then aside from that, it's just my website right now. Like that's where my applications are. If any doors are open, that's where you can get on wait lists for anything else like the immersion I mentioned and just get to know me. It's just a really good place. I know there's some other things that might be coming, but I have an actual website now, which is so exciting. And I'm like, just go there because I actually keep it updated. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. I'm very happy with it. And it's built this confidence of like, I can send people somewhere that I know communicates more of who I am and what I do. So.
Yes. So definitely check her out. Follow her if you don't, whether it's Instagram, whether you're just following her via the website, to check out IME, to get yourself on that wait list. I also would love to see you there because while I won't be at the one in May, I may be at the one in July. I will probably definitely be at ones in 2027. So I would love to just randomly see some of you guys there.
That would be amazing. I would love that as well. And then you could just tell me, I found you through Vanessa's podcast.
Yeah, it would be so fun to see. So I hope that you all take advantage of Kat, because she is a wealth of information and is just an amazing person to know, to connect with, and to learn from. So thank you so much for coming back on again, Kat. It was so much fun. Obviously, we'll be catching up more offline, but I appreciate you taking the time to share with our community.
Thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate you so much. I'm honored to be back on here again, get a second time.
Yeah, yay. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Rebel Rise podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and invite your friends to join us next week. This is your time. Now get out there and rise.